It doesn't have you recording. Thank you.
So everything you said. Can I just say a couple of words, Claudia? I am representing the board of directors for Belta and the Belta members. I truly appreciate you being us and trusting the association, as we believe we have the best group of agencies in Brazil. So you are talking to, agents that can work in a ethical and great way with your institution. So welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and we are always super happy to have you with us, because we rely on, as I said, schools rely on great agents, and agents rely on great schools and services. So here we are, because we are all great. So you have the word, Claudia.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so a pleasure to be with you today. Brazil must be one of my favorite countries in the world. As I was just telling you, Maura, earlier on, I've traveled Brazil. I've been to Sao Paulo quite a number of times, and I've traveled Brazil extensively especially during my career in international education. And I have to say, I only have that admiration for your country and your people. I really do.
Thank you.
Right. So I think we will feel free, as people start joining in, feel free to post questions on the chat, and a member of our team or myself will reply. And at the end, we will also hope to have some time to address some of the questions left if necessary, and possibly have a bit of a chat with those present today. Next slide, please.
Who has a
Next slide, please. Can you move per slide, Jenna?
Sorry, Gina, are you seeing the?
I see the side, the notes.
Oh, sorry. Right.
We'll get it right.
That one?
Right. Yes, that one. So today with me is Steve Bannister, who just saw the Director of International and Anglia Examinations. Alice Osman, Chief Examiner of Anglia Examinations, and Jenna Audley, Marketing Anglia Examinations. And myself, International Partnerships Manager. And it is surprising to see how good we all look on the picture.
Sorry, Adriana, can you close up your microphone? Thank you. Sorry, Claudia.
Yes. So I was just saying that I was surprised to see how good I look on that picture. Okay, so a little bit about Chichester College Group. Next slide, please. We are a large organization with 25,000 students and 2,000 staff members, offering academic programs for UK and international students age 16 plus. The 5 colleges that you see there are located in the southeast of England. And in addition, you will see that there are 2 core businesses. One is Anglia Examinations, which offers English exams. And the other one is our 4 early year centers called First Steps, providing expertise and support in the development of children aged 3 to 5 years old. It is worthwhile mentioning here that Anglia Examinations operates via a network of franchisees and partners around the world. And First Step Nurseries operate in the UK, but we have the strategic aim of rolling a franchisee model internationally, offering childcare expertise as well as professional development programs in this area. Additionally, we also own and run a language school, referred to here in the slide as CELS, which is a British Council accredited school. Next slide, please. Testament to our position in education in the UK are our group achievements mentioned in this slide. We are a leading centre for excellence in the World Skills Project, in furniture and furniture making and upholstery area. We also received the Queen's Anniversary Prize this year, which is granted every 2 years. And again, another area in which we excel is in our Ofsted. Ofsted is the body, for those who don't know, Ofsted is the body that inspects and assures quality in education in England. And it has awarded us, the whole group, the highest grade for the last 8 years. On the Anglia Examinations front, UCAS awards points to our mastery level English exam. And again, UCAS is the body that mediates entrance requirements with universities in the UK. Therefore, if a student is applying to university, he or she can use UCAS points as part of their uni application. And finally, this year we were awarded national recognition for our work in the area of student mental health and well-being. A reassuring thing to hear for those who are interested in sending students to our college onto our programs, as our welfare for students is central to the work that we do. Thank you, and over to Steve, who will touch upon our study abroad offer. Next slide, please.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Steve Bannister. I'm the Group Director for International here at Chichester College, and indeed Managing Director for Anglia Exams also. I think it's fair to say that we're really in the business of trying to create global citizens. And what I mean by that is that, so our mission, in effect, is to change lives through learning. We are an educational charity, so a lot of our British students are funded by British taxpayers. And as a consequence, what that means really is that we put more value into delivering tuition and training, which changes people's lives. Because I think we sometimes get lost in the bureaucracy of education, but I think at the end of the day, education should change behavior. And if it doesn't, we perhaps need to question what we're about. So quality, as evidenced through the Queen's Award and our Ofsted grade and other accolades that we've received, is really at the heart of what we do. And I know that everybody says this, but I think what I like to think what makes us different is that we really mean it. Next slide, please, Jenna. So in terms of our portfolio of service, and there's quite a lot to go through here because we are a large organization and there's lots going on within the Chichester College Group, or CCG as we call ourselves. But study abroad programs are a core part of what we do. So we offer a choice of academic and vocational programs for students over the age of 16. We are a UKVI, so British Home Office sponsor, meaning that we can award student visas for students staying with us for more than 6 months. For students staying with us for less than 6 months, they can just come on a tourist visa. And I think we're also quite unique in the respect that we have a dedicated English language school. It is British Council accredited with, we currently have about 90 students on program. We have across our colleges that focus on international, around 42 different nationalities at this moment in time. And I think the common thing in all of these is that it is about quality. We take a real interest in our students. Again, probably a cliche, but we really do try to go the extra mile. And I think the underlying reason for that ultimately is that we are an educational charity and we don't have shareholders that we have to deliver profits back to. So if we can see a way of doing things better, and there's always room for improvement, we will make that investment to ensure that our students have an experience with us that is really formative, that really changes their lives. It's such a pivotal time in a young person's development. And I'm going to go off script in terms of the presentation, but I often think of Chichester as being a really useful place for students to make that transition to independence, almost imagining us as providing the stepping stones across that river from childhood to education. And we do very much treat our young students as exactly what they are, young adults. So for us, it's about empowering them, teaching them independent skills so that ultimately they can spread their wings and progress on to whatever dream they have, whether it's higher education or going back to their home country to study or to study at universities in the UK. I believe that through our mix of programs and portfolio, and indeed our English language school, we can really equip students with the tools that they need to progress. Thanks, Jenna. So the English language school is located here at Chichester, in sunny Chichester. We're very lucky to be graced with a wonderful campus. It's a bit like a university campus, lots of green fields, playing fields, tennis courts, floodlit, astroturf, football fields. I think we have three restaurants on campus. We have a men's barbers, a women's hairdressers. It's a nice sort of campus environment. Sadly, that's not the same for all colleges in the UK, especially those in the cities that don't perhaps have the luxury of space that we have. Our English language school offers two key programs, so 15 and 21, what we call EFL 15 and EFL 21. You know, we love acronyms in our industry. So English for foreign language 15 is 15 hours a week and 21 is 21 hours a week. The difference between those, the 6 hours difference, is predominantly English for academic purposes. So typically the students that do the 21 hours a week with us are intent on progressing to university, and we teach them about Harvard referencing and other tools that they require to progress with their further education. We also offer, say, the Studies Experience Abroad, which is an immersive program whereby students can participate in classroom programs with British students. And then, of course, we have a summer school program, which we're quite excited about this year because we have a lot of students registering for it. We've just had confirmation from Latin America of a further 12 students today, which is nice. And the summer school program is really a combination of English 15 plus a whole lot of activities. So we take students on trips, and all of the information for that is available on our website, on the CCG Study Abroad website. You can find detail around that. We are aiming, we're in the unusual position at the moment of hoping to be re-inspected by the British Council, because our ambition is to get full marks for our next inspection. No college in the UK has achieved that as yet, neither have we, but that is our aspiration. And again, I think just to stress the point that it's about, for us, it's about quality, because obviously it's a very competitive landscape, and you must be asking yourselves, you know, why would you bother sending students to Chichester? I think the argument we're trying to make through evidence and awards and recognition through British Council and others is because we do provide an exemplary service. Thanks, Jenna. Next slide, please. So the summer school program runs for 7 weeks through July and into the first couple of weeks of August. Again, we are lucky in that we have halls on site. We have 160 rooms for over 18s and about 90 rooms for under 18s. And the program is predominantly built around EFL in the morning. So students will study from 9 a.m. to 12 noon in the morning English in classes commensurate with their English ability. So we have a B1 class, a B2 class, a C1 class, and so on, at levels A1 to C2. And we also offer 2 variations on that, where students can study English and do either media or sport. So the students that elect to do media will actually be our press corps for the duration of the summer school, and they will be generating videos, learning how to shoot videos. So they'll be taught, but they'll also be doing, and they'll have access to our website and be creating pages and content for us. And that's been quite fun in previous years. Students make what we call a mockumentary, where they develop a documentary that is fun. And so one of the ones that was done last year was by our Swiss students, and they did a rather crazy video on how to make cheese at Chichester. So they were kind of making fun of their own culture and of the British culture at the same time. So the whole idea of summer school really is to learn, but to learn by having fun and building lasting relationships that will hopefully last a lifetime. Because I think these years, these formative years for young people, are when they make those relationships that tend to last. Our minimum duration for summer school is 2 weeks, and we do invite groups. Although for groups, we're more than happy to customize programs according to needs. So we have a group coming over, for example, that are studying law in their home country in Holland. And when they are with us, they will be visiting law courts. We have another group that is coming over and they're studying media. They'll be going to see radio stations and meet with local businesses that are in the sort of design and creative industry sectors. So we're more than happy to customize programs according to student needs if people want to send dedicated groups. Thank you, Jenna. Over to our Chief Examiner, Alice Osman.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you. And thank you all for giving up the time. And thank you to Claudia. As Steve said, my name's Alice Osman, and I'm the Chief Examiner of Anglia Exams. So I'm going to be talking to you about the products that we offer. We are an examination board. Jenna, could I have the next slide, please? So as I said, we're an examination board, and we offer English exams to international learners of English. We're based at Chichester College, but primarily our exams are taken in the rest of the world. We have a few that take it at Chichester College and in the UK, but very much it's predominantly worldwide. And I'll talk about that a bit later. But this slide just shows the range of the products that we have on offer for general English learners. You can see on the left-hand side, and you can see that 10-step going from first step at the bottom up to mastery. And those 10 steps mean that we can really take almost like baby steps in between the levels, and with a very clear syllabus and very quite rigid guidelines on how those exams are produced. It's a very clear pathway for students to take, and actually it's very popular with the teachers because they know very much what they need to teach to their students, and so they have that support. So it's quite a supportive environment. I'll talk about those separate exams in a little bit. And also you can see on this slide business exams and also sight exams, which are certificates for international teachers of English. And again, a little bit more about those later. I had, before I came solely to work for Anglia, I was an English teacher. I taught international students for 20 years. The last of those years were at Chichester College. So that was my kind of bridge over from working abroad, working in other institutions around the UK, came to Chichester, worked there, and then came into Anglia entirely. So my job now is the academic side. It's the content of the papers. It's the development of the papers. It's the ongoing alignment that we have with the Common European Framework of Reference. So that all falls under my remit, really. And we have, various teams within the company who support us in terms of writing and marking and everything else. So next slide, please, Jenna. A quick mention about recognition globally. This is just a little bit of a snapshot, and it gives an example. I won't read them all out to you, obviously, you can read them, but it gives a little bit of an idea of where we're recognized and how we're recognized. So we have some very, very long-standing partners who've been with us for dozens and dozens of years. One of those at the bottom right is Cyprus, where we are now recognized by the civil service. And that was a really great breakthrough and really useful. You can see the others where we have various Ministry of Education, or whether that's the civil service or working for the postal service or whatever it is. But Anglia can really help people on their way in their lives. And I think that's always been, ever since I started with Anglia, and even way before then, actually, the way it was set up was this idea of providing support and motivation and achievement. And that's this step-by-step idea behind it. And I think it really, really does create support and help students with that. Most recently, so it's so recent, it's not even made it onto this slide, in Ecuador, I think it was even maybe at the beginning of the week, maybe last week, in Ecuador, the Ministry of Education now recognizes our qualifications. So that's from advanced to mastery. So that's B2 to C2. So we are now accepted in Ecuador. So that's great. So there's new recognition coming out, all the time. And it's actually really motivational for us as well. But certainly very good for the candidates in the countries that they're in. So Jenna, next slide, please. Right, so this is our main suite of exams. This is our kind of core exam suite. As I mentioned before, the 10 steps. I won't go through them all because it would be quite a long process, but suffice to say, first step is very, very basic, maybe too basic for some candidates learning. It's the only receptive level that we have, because it's so low that actually we just ask students to, just recognize things rather than produce language. And right up to mastery C2, where really anything goes when you get up to that level. They need to be able to manipulate the language. As I said, the syllabus is very tight, so it's easy to follow those steps. We also have the lowest 4 level, that's first step, junior, primary and preliminary, are basically young learner. They're designed for young learners. So there's lots of pictures and things that they have to do. Sometimes they have to color things in, or, quite childish things, really. Now, obviously, not all learners are 5 years old. So we also have on the right-hand side there, adult learner versions of those levels. So it's the same exam, but it's presented in a different way because somebody might not want to draw a monster or, color in an apple or something. And we also offer these Young Stars, step 1, 2, and 3. Young Stars exams are really for markets where perhaps the candidates aren't ready for any kind of written exam, any kind of written word exam on the paper. And so it's an oral version, it's a spoken version of those levels. We test all 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Everything is managed here by the UK and sent out through the franchise system, as Claudia alluded to earlier on. I'd like to just mention that our top 4 levels, that's B1 to C2, about 10 years ago, not quite maybe, but we went into partnership with AIM Qualifications, which means that our off-qual accreditation comes through our partnership with them. So that was also a real push, a real bonus for a lot of candidates who take these exams. I think everything else has been mentioned on that slide. So Jenna, on to the next one, please. Briefly about the business. So we have several exams which look at specialist areas of English, so special interest. And in this case, the special interest is business. And we have a kind of a core group where they're very popular in the Netherlands, actually, where students may want to prove to themselves, they may want to prove to an employer for whatever reason. The language level is the same as those exams that we have of that level. So it's A2 plus, B1, B2 or C1. But of course, the language involved is more business focused. So they follow the CEFR mapping, but the focus is business. And it involves things like working in an office environment, the kind of language you would need for that. As you go up the levels, it's dealing with emails, reports, interpreting visual information from graphs and things like that. So if that's something that may be of interest, it's worth having a look. So thank you. Next one, Jenna. And the site papers, we have 3 levels for this. Certificate for International Teachers of English. These are 3 different levels. The very young learners was more recently brought in. We brought this in 2012. And this was because there was a need in some countries for teachers in their normal teaching job. They needed to show, they needed to teach English. All of a sudden, they were told, you have to teach English to a class of 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds. Obviously not very high level English, but they needed to teach English. And they didn't have those skills. And these exams at those 3 different levels are the site very young learners, where teachers are expected to probably be around A2 level. So they don't need to have very good English themselves, but they need to have enough to be several steps ahead of their students. So it's A2. For site young learners, we expect them to be around B2, and for the site general around C1. So those are the levels that we would expect. And again, they have really practical, a bit like the business papers, but just very, very practical, what you need in the classroom type of language. So it's classroom language, it's grammatical language, you know, what do we call, you know, what is a first conditional, all those kinds of things. Adapting material to levels, marking, identifying errors, common mistakes. And as they go up to the site young learners and certainly to the site top level, there's essay writing on teaching methodology in teaching English, and also practical, their own practical experience, I guess, which they can bring into their writings. So in a very brief nutshell, that was something about some of our exams. Could the last slide, please? Last slide of mine, what I'm saying. And I just wanted to mention here the network. So you've got here a whole variety of countries who have come on board with us and are selling our exams, whether they're general English or business or whatever they are. It's really, really wonderful that more keep coming through, and the ones that we have stick. So we have, as I mentioned before, those long-termers that have been with us for the long haul, and getting new maps on this kind of slide is always really very exciting. So at this point, I would like to say we hope to welcome you on board our network of trusted partners. Thank you very much. I think the next slide, Jenna, is passing the baton back to Steve, I believe. Phew.
Thank you, Alice. I just want to add something to that about around international before we look at transnational education and TVET, and that is just the point that Anglia is really, we often internally refer to Anglia as the Anglia family. Our franchisees are really our partners. And perhaps that's a good sort of segue or introduction into the work that we do internationally, because not all of the work that we do is inbound. We collaborate with educational institutions around the world. As a leading college here in the UK, we like to think that we're pretty good at what we do, but I think it's important to state at this point that we don't pretend to have all the answers. And so the means by which we collaborate both with Anglia and on the Chichester College side of things in terms of vocational training and collaboration in other countries is really one of sort of mutual dependence with our partners. We know that you are the experts on the market in Brazil. I was quite humbled not so long ago when I attended a meeting at a governmental level of education ministry here in the UK with partners in Brazil. And I was a little bit embarrassed, really, because the approach that some of the civil servants from the British government took when talking to colleagues in Brazil is, you know, we've been doing apprenticeships for 600 years, we invented them. And I thought, well, how is that relevant? The school-going age, the population of students of school-going age in Brazil is as large as the entire population of the UK. And I think it's very important that we recognize that we don't have all the answers. And this kind of brings me to the point that we're not necessarily, I'm not sure I even like the term agents, if I'm honest. We think of our agents as partners that provide a valuable service to us, without which we wouldn't be able to offer our services. So in terms of transnational education, you can flick to the next slide, please, Jenna. We work a lot across a lot of different industry sectors. We offer academic and vocational programs. We can bring to bear awarding organizations such as NCFE, whom we partner with, who are leaders in childcare and social care and creative and digital. They deliver internationally recognized qualifications, as indeed does Anglia. And what we bring to the table is perhaps insights into schemes of work, lesson plans, innovative ways of delivering education to partners around the world. But the challenge in all of this is that the world is a very varied place, and the program that we might deliver in China would be radically different to that which we might deliver in Latin America. So it's really a symbiotic relationship. And the way we would like to position ourselves is as a facilitator, not necessarily having all the answers, but working with partners to find a better way forward. And I think that's where we can deliver real value. I think in summary, we can offer quite a broad range of provision across a wide range of curriculum subjects. But integrity is a very key part of what we do. That's fine, Jenna, if you flick onto the next one. Integrity is a very key part of what we do. So we will always be transparent in our dealings with partners. We may be Ofsted outstanding in terms of the government inspection that takes place here in the UK, but we also know our limitations. So what I mean by that is that creative and digital, we're very strong at. Engineering that we're very strong at, as we are with childcare and a host of other things. Claudia mentioned furniture making. We're a world leader in that. But equally, there are certain areas, let's say, for example, cybersecurity, where quite honestly, we could think of better partners that are better placed to deliver that service in terms of TVET and transnational education than we can. So the approach we take is one of collaboration and really working with partners to make sure that the service delivered fulfills that central mission of ours of changing lives through learning. And if we feel that we're not best placed to deliver it, we will gladly work with other partners to make sure that the service delivered is the best, is as good as it can possibly be. So what that means in real terms is that we are in the habit of developing or co-creating content and training programs for delivery in discrete areas, bespoke programs. Of course, we do have the opportunity to bring teachers here to the UK, so we'll be doing that later in the year, bringing a whole bunch of Chinese teachers to work in our college for a while, so that they can learn about our quality assurance schemes, our schemes of work, our ethos and approach to education, which I think is key, so that they can then go back to their country and deliver effectively our program in China, but nuanced and changed according to the Chinese curriculum system. So very much a collaborative approach. We are also a key partner in the Global College Network, which if people want to find out more about that, we'd be happy to share more information. But again, it's kind of a best practice club It's like-minded educators from around the world working together to share best practice and to drive a culture of continuous improvement across all that we do. So I think, you know, we have a good track record, but we don't pretend to have all the answers. And really what we're looking for are really strong partnerships that we can work with so that we can learn from them, they can learn from us, and together our students here in the UK and indeed our students abroad, or the students of our partners, can benefit from that sharing of best practice, because education is not an easy game, and the needs of employers are constantly changing. So we here in the UK, for example, deliver training to Rolls-Royce, which is a global brand. And those employers demand new skills all the time. We have employers asking us for training in driverless vehicles now, and programming of the software for drones and other new technologies that are coming in. So we know that as educators, we have to keep learning as well. And the best way of achieving that is through collaboration with our colleagues around the world. Next slide, please. I just realized that slide there was Claudia.
Yes, I wonder if I can add.
Sorry,
something.
Claudia. Yeah.
Can I add something to it? To that previous slide? Yeah, in here actually, and we're not even mentioning, for example, the projects that we run alongside our Anglia exams on teacher training development of EFL materials. Our projects are government level with many countries around the world that actually Alice alluded to earlier on, as well as more recently with Ecuador and Kyrgyzstan in the area of learning and testing in English language education. So if we could, thank you, Jenna. Yeah, and yes, I think here, Steve, you've already mentioned our partners in Finland, in Italy, in Japan, in China, in Holland, Spain, in addition to the Anglia network partners that we talked earlier. And we hope to engage and find partners, more partners in Brazil at some point in the near future. Yeah, thank you, Jenna. Next slide. And finally, I hope that our presentation gives you an insight of what we can offer in relation to education. Thank you. I would like to also at this point invite a member of the audience today. Will anyone want to have questions or introduce themselves and take a moment to explain their area of education, business, as well as share current challenges related to education in general, or international education, or EFL, or English programs? So really an invitation to attendees today to share.
I think what really interests us in some respects is, you know, we all face unique challenges around the world for education, particularly post-pandemic, or as we move out of the pandemic, which continues. And indeed, now we're starting to see other pressures in terms of economic challenges and pressure on pricing and that sort of stuff. And when we think about partnerships, it's really about, you know, learning from each other and really trying to get under the skin of what keeps you guys awake at night, what challenges do you face, and hopefully somewhere within this discussion we can explore potential for collaboration going forward. So I don't know if anybody's brave enough to share some, you know, it would be enormously valuable to us to really understand, you know, what are the pressures that educators face in Brazil, and what are you looking for in terms of finding solutions that best fit the needs of your young learners and indeed adult learners.
Okay, as always, I am going to speak. If there is someone else, please let me know, because I am I am always the one who will be joining the presentations and asking questions. So I am Bia Falhaber from CP4 in Rio de Janeiro, and it's a pleasure to be here. I was quite amazed with the size of the institution and everything that you offer, but then you know, Brazil is recovering, is coming. In Belta, you have different sizes of, you know, educational advisors. This is what I call, you call partners. I call myself, and, you know, agencies from Belta, educational advisors, because I think this is what we are. So you have different sizes of companies and different approaches, but I think that one of the things we are facing is that schools now are bilingual and they are coming to the market in order to get and offer their own things. So I think this gives a different approach to the agencies and also for the different programs that we offer. So I think everybody is facing, you know, different challenges when we are back. I would like to ask you, what is the maximum age that you get?
That's a really good question, because of course we have teacher groups coming to us, and there's no upper limit really. I think the vast majority of our students are from 16 to perhaps mid-20s, if I'm honest. You know, that's the vast bulk of them, but there's always exceptions, because we bring groups from, you know, we might have a group of aeronautical engineers come over from one of the Gulf states, and they're all commissioned officers in the Air Force there, and so there'll be all different ages. So we really do have all kinds of ages, but the vast bulk of them, I would say, are, I'm getting old now, so I think of them as young adults, but through to the mid-20s, I would say, typically, but there's no upper limits. I mean, learning is for everybody.
Yeah, I think that would be important for you guys, as, you know, knowing the agencies and talking to them and knowing which ones will be the best for you, in the sense of Brazil is big. We are in, sometimes it's good for you to have small agencies in one part of Brazil, or, you know, different approaches. So we would be happy to be continuing talking to you, and it was a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. And just to pick up on that point, I have to be honest, I mean, an awful lot of our agents are very small agents. Every year we take between 40 and 50 students from France, from a lady, Emma, who has been our agent there for many years. And as far as I'm aware, all she does is market Chichester College. And whilst we do work with some larger agencies, most of our agent partners are very small enterprises. And that kind of suits us in a way, because we feel that they provide a very personalized service. The large agencies that we work with are exceptional because they also provide a personalized service. And I think that's the important thing here. And, you know, it's important for us in terms of getting to know our agents, agent partners as well, because we're not a faceless corporation. We do really get to know our partners and work closely with them, because they're like a really demanding family. Every agent wants something different. You know, we have one agent that wants students to come here and do voluntary work for charities. Other agents are not interested in that. We, like I said earlier, we have groups coming over. Some are lawyers, some are vets that want to go and study at our farm school. So we have to take a very individual approach, and we're looking for agent partners that take that individual approach as well.
Yeah, Steve, Maura has a question.
Yeah, no, it's not it's just a comment, you know, from everything. I think it's great. And I think you can, you know, within the association, you will have agents that, you know, they have their own contacts in their towns and cities and governmental, like they can offer this to the city, the minister of education, the education secretary of the town where they work or so. So there is a lot of opportunities in what I see in what we need is really the support from you to be with us when we are opening these doors, because this is an opportunity for us. So we can open big doors, small doors, or the most important thing is to have a partnership where we see an opportunity to open doors. And that's how we can plan the future ahead of us. Because Brazil is the largest country in South America, and with a huge market for learning English. We are still not a bilingual country. We are only, the very, there is a niche of kids going to bilingual schools, as Bia said, but I think for the future, the Brazilian government is looking forward, I hope so, to have all the kids being bilingual as it has happened or is happening in Chile, but Chile is much smaller than Brazil, so it's much easier for them to organize this. But this, what you guys offer, is something that we can see, we can plan for the future, and gives us, again, as I said, an opportunity to open doors. And that's what the association gives us, as bringing you guys as collaborators of the association. I don't know if you want to say something else, but I also want to say goodbye to you, because I have a meeting, and I really thank you for being there and having us learning what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I take a picture before you leave, Maura?
Yes, you like my picture.
Yes.
No, from all of us. So let's all have these smiley faces. Of course, Marigla. Right, Bia?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Maura.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Very much.
Thank you, Claude.
Bye.
Thank you.
So, if someone more has questions, please.
I think everyone is, it's leaving now, I think.
No?
No, I think we're down to 11 now. So yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone. And we'll be no doubt meeting you again. We have a plan to go to Brazil at some point this year. So
Oh, it's
we
perfect.
hope to see you there.
You hope to see you soon here. And if you like to, we record the meeting, and you send it to all the members until tomorrow. So with your contacts for additional questions.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you for
Bye.
organizing this. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice
Thank you.
evening. Bye-bye. Bye.